Hey guys, so I want to show you how to weed HTV. If you look on the back, this is the shiny side, which is what you put down on your mat. And then this is the matte side, or the smooth side, which is what actually gets cut out. Okay? I have a weeding light. I highly recommend one. You can get them for fairly cheap. I think like 20 bucks or so on Amazon. They really don't cost that much. But it helps you to see the lines of where you are weeding, so especially if you have little things. Now, I make it a design for my friend's trucking business. This is the first layer, so I don't really have a lot to weed. I don't have any like little tiny letters or anything. This is all it's all solid backing. This is the first layer, so. But this is pretty simple, and I wanted to show you how to do it. The first thing I'd like to do, take your weeding tool. I got this with some HTV that I ordered off from Amazon. I love this little tool, but whatever works for you. Start with the right bottom hand corner. Try to get it up a little bit. Oops. It's a little stubborn sometimes. Once you get that, slowly pull up and over to the left. Now, because this is solid, I can go relatively fast with this one. Now, if it was one that had letters in it, when you get to the letters, you want to go a little bit slower so that it doesn't pull your letters up with it. Now, if you can see, I do have some little pieces that go up in between the letters. If you need a little help with that, it's helpful to take your weeding tool and just grab it and help it along. You're going to want to work your way from kind of top to bottom, a little bit at the bottom, a little bit at the top. Again, I have a little piece here, so I'm going to take my weeding tool, kind of help it along. Same thing with right here. Doesn't hurt to help get those little pieces out if they're wanting to be stubborn and stick. Oops, I shut my weeding. I know you probably can't see, but like I said, the weeding light, you can see the little lines of where it's been cut, so cut through. So that is pretty helpful, and that is helpful with HTV and permanent or semi-permanent vinyl, whichever you choose to use. They always have a carrier on them, so. This one just happens to be, the carrier is on the back of the HTV. And the reasoning for that is, and the reasoning for mirroring your cuts in your Silhouette Studio is so, now that I've got that all pretty much done, it's backwards. And the reason why is because when you take it and you place it on your material, you place it with the carrier. This is the sticky part. You flip it over and then place it down on your shirt or whatever material you're using the HTV on, and then it puts it correctly. So you always want to make sure that you mirror your design, because this is sticky. This helps protect it, and this is what the HTV is stuck to, and you put it this way with the carrier, with the HTV smooth part on the material and the carrier on top of, or on the top. So that's pretty much how you weed. Always make sure you have all the little pieces, because whatever is on the carrier will stick to your material. And it's not that, I mean, there's ways of getting the HTV off your material if you made a mistake. But to be honest with you, it can leave some residue behind, and so sometimes it shows through your new design. So you need to be really careful that whatever does not belong on your design gets removed. Okay, so that's our tutorial on how to, sorry, I had to make sure we were recording, how to weed it. Guys, I'm back with the second part of the design of my friend's trucking business. Actually, it will be hoodies is what I'm working on right now. Now I showed you just the basic background, and now I want to show you the rest of it and how to weed out their little parts. This has letters on it, so it has little parts. Over here, if you can see it or not, what I do is I take a piece of transfer paper that you use for decals, and I have it over here because let me weed just a little part before I start pulling off the big part. You can probably see sometimes you have little bitty pieces and they're a pain in the butt, so I tend to have a piece of transfer tape to stick them to instead of trying to put them in your garbage can every single time. Anyways, again, like I said in the last video, I try to start off on the right bottom hand side. I read that tip once and it works actually a lot better for me. Now we're going to have letters. They're rather big, but it's not going to be solid, so there's going to be pieces in between that we're going to need to weed. So this time you want to go a little bit slower than the last time because it's not solid. I'm going to move this out of the way. Okay, so grab your vinyl. Try to get yourself a piece to start with. Oops. Oh goodness. There we go. Put the weeding tool down. Okay. Here's where I said you want to go rather slowly because now it's starting to. It has letters. You don't want to pull those letters off because believe you me, it's going to be a pain in the butt to try to replace those letters. So just take your time. I will try to get this done carefully but as quickly as possible so it's not a long video. Then when I get the majority of this off, I can kind of show you. See, here's, like I said in the other, with the other part, sometimes you gotta give it a little bit of help with your weeding tool. And sometimes it rips, and that's fine. You can just go through when you're weeding and get the rest of it, or you can take your tool and help it along. There we go. Okay, I'm going to move up here since we're getting to the design over here. Now, the reasoning that I have some extra on here, and I did in the last part, is because I cut 2 at a time on a roll. Only because he has me make multiple either t-shirts or hoodies. So it's just easier for me to cut 2 out at a time. Then I can just start weeding and then layering them on. Now I'm not going to show you how I make his hoodies because this one's a little more complicated. I want to kind of simplify things for you. So I'm actually going to do another project here shortly and show you. I think I have some kids t-shirts that I can work on, but and then show you how to layer HTV. I'll probably tell you this in the next video, but I'll tell you this now as well. When you are going to layer HTV, personally, I won't do it for the video because it'll take too long, but personally, I like to weed a layer, then put it on, weed the next layer, then put it on. And the reason why I do that is because HTV transfer paper, as I showed you before, is rather sticky. And they tend to stick to each other if you try to pile them up. Unless you have room to spread all of your colors out, like on a table or a desk or what have you, I would recommend just weeding them one at a time, so you're not trying to layer them or stick them together. It really doesn't take that much longer, to be honest with you, because you're still going to spend the time weeding regardless of whether you do it all at once or you do it a little bit at a time. Sometimes this stuff sticks. Oops, tend to bump that power button. I'm going to tell you guys, this that I'm using right here is Thermoflex. Thermoflex, I don't know where you can get it from, but I get mine from my Vinyl World. Again, like I said in the last video, my Vinyl World is out of Sparta, Michigan. They are a local family-owned company. Their prices are actually really good. But if you don't live in Michigan, or even if you live in Michigan but not near their store, they have an online store. So it's My Vinyl World, myvinylworld.com is what it is. I'll try to comment or put that in the video too, maybe post it below or something so that you can have the link to their store. It's the best that I have found. I'm sure you can get it other places. I'm sure that they're not the only place, but like I said, they're a local family-owned company, so they're only like 35 minutes from me. So I always try to drive over there and give them my money versus ordering it online from somewhere else. If you ever do get a chance to get to Sparta, Michigan and get to their store, it is gorgeous. There is everything that you could need. I mean, literally, everything that you need to do vinyl work. There are blanks, there's permanent vinyl, there's HTV, there's special print vinyl that they print off. All kinds of that. They're semi-permanent. They have Sizer and Thermoflex for HTV, if you prefer Sizer. And they also have machines. I think they have a few blades. They have paint. I mean, it's just a wonderful store. Okay, now back to what I was saying now that I've got this all pulled off. Now, I don't know if you can see this or not, and I don't have any way to zoom in because the way I'm using my phone too. But here is a little piece right here. Now with the weeding light, there's three different, on mine there's three different brightnesses. But you can see right around where it's been cut, you can see the light through it. So it is extremely helpful to have one of these. If you don't have one, obviously you don't have to have it, but it has been a huge help for me. There are some colors like the glitter, the HTV glitter, it's not helpful at all because it's too thick. So I just have to take my lamp, which I have right here. It's nice to have a little desktop lamp. It's very helpful when you're weeding. Oops. Here I am telling you about my little trick over here, and I'm not even using it. Okay. So it makes things so much faster because you can see. See, I actually have two designs on this one, a smaller version and a bigger version, because I put this design on the back and then this design goes on the front of his t-shirt or hoodie or whatever. As soon as I get all of this. I apologize if you hear any pounding in the background. We have a vintage camper trailer, and my wife is currently out there trying to put it together for us. It was pretty gutted when we bought it, so we are trying to rebuild, and I'm in here doing this, and while she is out there working on that. So if you happen to hear any pounding in the back, that's what it is. Like I said in the last video, if you get frustrated, don't give up. I don't know how many times. I should have took my own advice. I wanted to give up lots and lots of times. I just get so frustrated, I would just put everything away and walk away and spend the night away from it. But if you just be patient with yourself, be patient with the cutting machine, be patient with, you know, the Silhouette Studio, and just take your time. Once you figure it out, you're like, oh my gosh, that was so simple. And you'll end up loving it. Now I'm going to show you something over here on the R. I have a little, this is going to be very handy for you, by the way. Over here, it forgot to cut out, or maybe I didn't have it clicked, I don't know. It didn't cut out the little piece of the R like it did over here. So I'm going to take my little X-Acto blade and cut out a little area. This is for my friend's trucking business out of Illinois. He's my best friend. So he won't kill me if there's a little bit of an oopsie. Now if you're doing this as a business and this happens, you want to be extremely precise with getting it. Or you can just go back and recut it, but it wastes a lot of vinyl for such a little tiny spot. Like I said, he'll forgive me. I use the end of my, I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's kind of squishy. That's really good if your HTV comes up. It's nice to have. There's also, if you go and buy like ink, because you can use ink. It sends you with one of these. It's a rubber like spreader for the ink. So if you have something rubber that bends like this, is also really good if you don't have the end of your weeding tool. Some of them are hard. This is my mom's favorite weeding tool, and it's hard. I lied. She has a dental tool that she likes to use when she helps me out here. It's actually our business, but she's a rather busy lady, so I usually end up doing most of it. So there's a weeding tool. There's all kinds of different kinds of weeding tools. You can buy them. You can actually go to Walmart and get dental picks if you're in desperate need. You can order them on Amazon. Like I said, this one, which is my absolute favorite one, came with some HTV that I ordered off Amazon before I discovered my vinyl world. So those are the different kinds. Just use whatever is good for you. Also with my weeding light, and my mother ordered it for me, it came with all kinds of tools. These are scrapers. I think I've only used this one. You can stick it under the vinyl and help pull it up if that's what you want to do. This is another, this looks like a dental pick. Let me show you. Got different ends on it. Tweezers. Tweezers are often, some people use them for getting the little pieces. They kind of pick them up with the tweezers and pull them off. I use my weeding tool, but tweezers. I think there is one more. Excuse me, there's two more tools in here. This is another X-Acto knife that came with the kit, but I already had one, so they're very handy. Little, I don't know if you can see the heads of those, but they're quite tiny. Little scrapers, one on each end. So it's helpful to have some tools. I have not used these. I may at some point, I don't know, but I've never used them. I usually tend to stick with my weeding tool. But the point is, there's all kinds of, here's also came with blades. There's all kinds of tools out there. There's different scrapers that you can use if you want to. This is also another scraper. I have not used those. I tend to stick with, this is the first one that I bought from my vinyl world. It's really cool. And then I went there and they had this one. This one it's exactly the same, pretty much, except for it has a piece of felt on it. And when you are putting it on your mat, it tends to slide along the vinyl, whether it's permanent or semi-permanent or HV. If you're trying to put it down on your mat so that it's stuck to it really well, this tends to slide on it a lot better. But if it's just plastic, it works well too. I don't know if you can order these on their website or not, but you might be able to find them on Amazon, I'm not sure. This is a paint scraper. It's a putty knife, actually. It's a plastic putty knife that I bought for a different project. And it also works very well too. So, I mean, you can find all kinds of scrapers, all kinds of tools. You're not absolutely have to buy what's on Amazon. You can go to your local Walmart and get different tools if that's what you want to do or you don't have time to order. Also, another little tiny scraper. So, there's all kinds of stuff. I'm going to show you something. I got this, it's actually a lamp, and I got it from Walmart. But if you look, let me move this out of the way. If you look, it's got all kinds of holders in it. So this is where I put all my stuff. All my tools, my markers, my scrapers, all of that stuff. You can also put scrapers down in here if that's what you want to do. But it works out really well. Highly recommend it. Like I said, you can pick these up at Walmart. I want to say they were like $20. It also has a plug-in. Whoops! There goes my stuff. Has a plug-in on one side, so you can plug your phone charger into it if you want to. And there's also, well, excuse me, there's plug on both sides. So you can plug something into that. It's already plugged into your wall, so that's what gives you the electric. Alright, now that I showed you all my fancy dancy stuff, I'm going to end this video. I gotta get back to making these. I will come back again, and I'm going to show you step by step, starting from designing something with HTV to weeding it to placing it on your whatever it is that you have, shirt or whatever. So I will be back with that video at some point.